I am very, very, very thrilled and excited to bring up our next speaker here today. I first met Vince a little bit after I met Craig, actually. Almost 8 years ago, we first met each other. And it's just been, I know he's told me it's been amazing to see my transformation from his point of view, and it's been amazing from my point of view to see him. I remember when I first met him, we were at a mastermind dinner or something like that, because now we're in a couple of the same masterminds. And this was 8 years ago, and I just remember him telling me these stories about how he was so stressed out with his 5 different girlfriends, and it was just, there was a lot going on. And now today, he has this wife that he's so committed to, and she's so committed to him, and they have 2 beautiful children, and he's building this amazing life, and he's transformed. It's been amazing to see. I hadn't seen him in years, and we reconnected in March at our mastermind in Utah, and I was like, dude, you gotta come speak at the summit, and he was like, I would love to rock it for your audience, and that's exactly what he's gonna do right now. So let's stand up, and let's bring Vince Del Monte to the stage.
I guess I gotta tell that story now. That song you were just listening to was the song that I came out to with my wife 7 years ago when we got married. You're gonna hear a lot about my wife today. I wasn't planning on talking about the 5 girlfriends, but because he brought it up, I guess I have to. All right. So today we're going to be talking about maximizing the 5 M's of manhood, all right, to becoming a real man, becoming a better man. So yes, this talk is geared towards men. It's what I'm most passionate about right now. And before we dive into the 5 M's, I was asking myself, just a quick question, how do I get the slides up? Boom. Okay, great. I asked myself, why do these guys want to listen to me? Why should they listen to me? And why do people follow Vince Del Monte? And there's one word that popped out, and that word is attainable. Today I'm going to tell you guys my story, and the story I'm going to share is attainable for all of you. And I think that's why a lot of people follow me. It's not because, you know, when it comes to muscle that I'm like a massive dude, like I can never get that big, or that I make so much money, or that my lifestyle is so extravagant, or that my mindset is so much bigger. I'm not much further ahead than most people in this room. Where I'm at is attainable. And the reason I want to share this today is because I want to show you guys that the path that I've taken is possible for each one of you guys. And once you got clarity on that, then we can start moving forward with confidence, and we can embrace where you are today. Do you know that each one of you guys are exactly where you need to be right now? None of you guys are behind, and none of you guys are ahead. You're all exactly where you need to be right now, and I'm going to reinforce this as we go through this talk today, okay? So one of the big things that I'm passionate about is inspiring people. Every Sunday I go to a church called Elevation, and I get like what you guys are getting today for free every Sunday at church. We have this outstanding pastor that just lights me on fire. If you guys watch my Insta story, my bones come alive. I've got iron lungs. I get inspired. He transforms my heart. He doesn't hit me up here in the head. He hits me here in the heart. So I'm hoping that some of the stuff I share with you guys today hits you in the heart. All right, so I want to kind of give you guys a bit of context to who I am. We live in a day and age where all the conversations around what and how. So what's new, man? How things going? When was the last time someone came up to you and said, who are you becoming today? Are you happy with who you're becoming? Nobody talks about the who. And as you get more clear on your who and who you are, it'll be easier to follow your path. So it's taken me 37 years to figure out who I am. Some of these things up here I wouldn't have put, or I might have like been embarrassed to share, a little ashamed to share, or just like a little insecure to share. But this is who Vince Del Monte is. He's a Christian, he's a husband, he's a father, he's a fitness trainer and author, he's an entrepreneur, and he's a business coach. That's who I am. I grew up in a Christian home. My father was a pastor for 35 years. All right? I didn't always live the Christian lifestyle. In fact, I put it on the back burner, and that was a day that I told my parents, this lifestyle is too hard for me. These expectations are too hard. Thankfully, I've come back to my faith. I'm a husband. I committed my life to one woman 7 years ago. We're going to talk about that today, all right? I'm a father to 2 young kids, 4 and 2. You're going to see them in a second. I'm a fitness trainer, I'm an author, I'm an entrepreneur, and I'm a business coach. This did not all happen at once, all right? So I just want to show you guys some pictures. This is my BMW. Who here has a BMW? A beautiful, marvelous wife? Good. I call her my BMW. So this was us a few weeks ago out in Niagara Falls. We're celebrating our 7-year wedding anniversary. And this here is my legacy. My business is not my legacy. The amount of money in my bank account is not my legacy. There's a great book, it's called Die Empty, and where people got life backwards. They're finishing with tons of money in the bank. They're finishing with all this energy. You want to finish life empty. You want to exhaust everything. You want to leave it all out on the race course. And this is my legacy. If I screw this up, nothing else matters. If these kids grow up without a father, nothing else matters. I'm a failure. This is how I identify. Like if this fails, I'm gone. You'll never see me again. I'd probably not be able to recover. Now, I'm sure I could, but that's how important this is to me. All right? So this is the main thing in my life. So my whole life is built around keeping the main thing the main thing. And now that I have this value, it makes it easier to make other decisions. If this thing's going to get put on the back burner, then it's not going to happen. These are my ambitious action takers. These are my students. These are a couple of the guys who follow my work. How many people have followed a Video Money workout program or are currently on one? That's amazing. That is so encouraging. And these are guys who followed my work. This is my first real book. This is when I felt like a real entrepreneur, when I had a physical book. This is me just a few months ago at the bookstore that I used to always go to, holding my book in the bookshelf. And I haven't made a single penny off that book to this day. That's a story for another day. But I've got a book. I moved to the big city, and the reason I'm telling you this is because I didn't move to the big city until I was 37 years old. This is the home we live in Toronto, and there's something really special about this home that means a lot to me that we'll talk about a little bit later. These are my business students. I just had an event a few weeks ago in Toronto. We had 40 people come to learn my 0 to 6-figure formula seminar, and I taught them everything I knew on how I've built a 7-figure business and how I've maintained it over the past 7 years. People come to learn from me because I've got what I like to call sustainability. Would you rather learn from somebody who made $1 million? This just came out. I'm curious. Would you rather learn from somebody who made $1 million in his first year or somebody who's been maintaining $1 million every year for the past 10 years? Why? It's sustainable. It's sustainable. And once you get clarity on what you're chasing, I'm chasing sustainability. I'm chasing longevity. I'm not trying to cash in next week. And once you get clear on I'm running a long race, you can breathe. You can now take a big breath and you say, hey, it's okay. This is a long race. So I'm playing the long game. You guys heard that saying from Gary Vee, the long game? So these are my business students, and they all want to learn, how have you done it? I don't have a huge social media following. I have an average social media following. I always tell you guys, not all clicks are created equal. You don't need 1 million followers on Instagram to make millions of dollars. I have friends who have a big business. They don't even have an Instagram account. So not all clicks are created equal. The focus is on attracting the right person, quality people. Does that make sense? You don't need 1 million people on your fan page. You don't need 1 million people on your email list. You don't need hundreds of thousands of customers. And that's why I said at the start, my life is an example of what's attainable. Everything I've done is attainable. You know, there's some guys out there, like you hear like, you know, certain guys, like I've got some friends that are professional bodybuilders and you know, behind closed doors, they'll say stuff like, yeah, they can't do what I do. And they're actually right. What they do, you probably can't do. And that's why people like look to them for inspiration, but they're like, yeah, he's just so far ahead, I can't even like really follow his path because he's just so far ahead. Does that make sense? So you guys all have an opportunity here. You guys all have an opportunity to inspire people who are just, if you're here, you have an opportunity to inspire all the people like right around here. And as long as you're growing, the people who follow you will want to grow with you. And that's been my business model. As soon as I've stopped growing, numbers plummet. Not plummet, but they slow down. Does that make sense? This all started back when I was skinny Vinny, 17 years old. All right, that's a 20-year difference. 20-year difference. I was probably 139 pounds there, long distance runner. I was a triathlete. I represented Canada for a period of time. I competed in endurance sport. And it's 20 years later, I've gotten into this weird world of building muscle that I love. So I used to have an identity as a runner, and now I've got, you know, a few more identities. All right, we're going to dig into the 5 M's of maximizing manhood. All right, so the first M is muscle. And these actually do go in an order. All right, these do go in order, and they all make sense as we tie it into my story. The first M is just building a great body and building a body you're proud of. All right? The gym, fitness, some of you guys might not be in a gym, you might be into sports, but the gym is a metaphor for life. You guys all heard that before? Who lifts the weights in the gym? Who lifts the weights in the gym? You lift the weights in the gym. You've got to push the reps. You've got to get out of your comfort zone. You have to show up. You have to finish the workout. And this is exactly how life is. You know, one of my pet peeves is like when people come up to me and they say, yeah, I'm going to try out your workout program and see how it goes. The moment somebody says, I'm going to try it out, it's basically them telling themselves, I'm already decided I'm going to fail. Because what's their approach to the workout program? That the workout program is going to do something to them. You don't fail a workout program. Sorry, let me repeat that. A workout program doesn't fail you. You fail the workout program. Same thing with the diet. People come up to me and they, oh, that diet didn't work for me. The reason the diet didn't work for you is because you showed up as the same person to the next diet. You didn't change. You brought the same self to the next workout program, to the next diet, to the next business. The business isn't failing you. The diet isn't failing you. The relationship isn't failing you. She's not the wrong one. You're just not evolving. So it all comes back to understanding the gym is a metaphor for life. And if you're going to change in the gym, you have to evolve. You have to grow. Does that make sense? Yeah, it's always on our shoulders. You've heard this over and over. A big thing about building muscles is that it forces you to act the part. I was training with Steve Weatherford this morning. Guy's got 19-inch arms. I'm like, what do you do? So I do the 90-day program. I got Armageddon. You know, I'm like, can I get on the program? If I want 19-inch arms, I got to start training like Steve. If I want to look like him, I got to start doing what he does. I got to start eating how he does. So if you want to look like a 185-pound shredded fitness model, you got to start living like a 185-pound shredded fitness model. You got to act the part. I remember when I was a runner, I used to go to bush parties in high school. And I showed up to practice late, and I had a horrible workout, and my coach asked me, what were you doing last night? I was at a bush party. I was drinking. And he said, Vince, do you think Matt Kerr was at the bush party last night? Matt Kerr is the Canadian champion. And when he said that, I quickly realized, no, I bet Matt Kerr doesn't even know what a bush party is. He probably went to bed at 7:30 last night. Start acting like Matt Kerr. Holy crap. My actions aren't in alignment with what I'm saying I want to do. So start acting the part. Talk is cheap. Muscle helps you command attention. When Steve walked up on the stage, did he have your attention? We're just having lunch. I'm like staring at his arms. He commands authority. He doesn't have to say I take care of myself. He doesn't have to say I take pride in how I dress. He doesn't have to say I'm a walking billboard of hard work. You see it. You quickly see it. This guy, wow, this is a high status man. This is what Jay's teaching you. People quickly recognize you're somebody to be reckoned with. Wow, who's this person in my presence? So adding a little muscle to your body is going to help you do that. It's going to open up doors. My buddy's a pro bodybuilder, Ben Pekulski. He always jokes around how, he just walks into a room and he instantly commands attention. Now, it's his job to say something intelligent next, which he does, but just walking in the room, everyone's like, yeah, say something. When you guys are in the gym, you're walking through the gym, bigger guy's walking towards you, bigger muscular guy. What do? You step aside. Why? Because he's the alpha line. And everybody's constantly trying to size themselves up and trying to figure out where they fit in the pecking order. Now, when I'm walking through the gym and someone a little smaller than me walks by, what do? Keep walking. In my way, move it. Get out of my way. I got my next set to do. I'm on a mission. I'm going somewhere. So when people are looking at you, they're trying to figure out, am I higher or lower than this guy? Right? So we got to add some muscle to our body. Right? We got to look the part. We got to be proud of what we see in the mirror. You guys inspired to go work out? You guys going to hit the gym tomorrow morning? So they're freaking 2 gyms like within 5 minutes of here. All right, so let's get some workouts in tomorrow morning. Link up, guys, head into the gym. I had 16 guys come in at 5:30 a.m. before a 3-day business meeting the other day, and we did this modified strongman workout. And we were flipping tires and running 300-pound sleds, and they were like, wow, I came for a business mastermind. What does it mean? We don't train? It's a part of our life, all right? Second M of manhood is mindset. There's a lot of stuff we could say on mindset. One of the big things with mindset is that you guys are going to quickly discover your entire life is forcing other people to believe in you. I'm going to tell you guys a story about my father when I entered the fitness industry for the first time, and he questioned my path. And if there was only one person on this planet I would listen to, it was him. I'm going to tell you about that in a bit. We're going to talk about the abundance versus scarcity. One of the other mindsets we need is the abundance mindset versus scarcity mindset, right? This is the mindset that there's enough out there for everybody. I was talking to someone last night, they started a business venture, and their friend just pooped on them, and they said, this is never going to work. Andy, where's Andy? Veggie Gains. Yeah, right, and your friends pooped on you. Bullshit. I don't like those guys. I don't like those guys. And you know why? Because they're small-time thinkers. They don't think there's enough to go around for everyone. The mastermind Jay was talking about, we're both in together. We are in a mastermind. This is almost crazy. There's 12 guys in this one particular group, and half of them are all running either multi-7-figure businesses or over 8-figure businesses, and guess what? They're all marketing to the same people. There is more than enough for everyone to go around tenfold. And if you don't believe me, when you get into masterminds and you're sitting right beside your direct competition who's doing multi-6 figures a year, and another guy right beside you is doing multi-6 figures a year, and you're marketing to the same people, your brain quickly expands. And you're like, wow, there's a lot out there. And now you start entering conversations where you're like, you don't go into that scarcity mentality. I have these buddies, like, when we talk business, what they do is they hold their cards close to their chests. They don't tell you anything. I'm an open book. Ask me anything. I'll tell you whatever you want because I have an abundance mentality. There's more than enough to go around for everybody. I'll tell you all my ideas. I'll tell you everything I'm doing. I'm not worried. There's enough to go around for everybody. This is my favorite one. You're going to hear me talk a lot about this in the upcoming months, years, and it's called going the distance. What I've found is a lot of men check out early in life. They peak in their teens. Their best years were in high school. They're like, wow, college was amazing. If only I went back to school. College days were the best. And they peaked in university. and they check out in the second half of life. And none of you guys are going to check out in the second half of life. You guys are just getting started. Your second half of life is going to be better. Anyone can start life on a strong foot. My coach used to always say, my running coach, the race starts at the halfway point. It's a 10K race. He said, I need you to switch on when you hit the 5K mark. We're just going to coast until we hit that 5K mark, and then we switch it on. We're going to run the second half of the race harder than we ran the first half. And we're going to go the distance. I can name 20 guys that started the online business when I did in 2005. I have no idea where they are. They're gone. They cashed in early. They disappeared. I'm going the distance in all these M's. I'm just getting started. And when you got that mentality that I'm playing until I'm 65, 75, 85, I'm playing until I'm dead, now you've got like, wow, this is a long race. I might need to pace myself. Maybe I should not like always be sprinting. I got to sprint sometimes. Maybe I should slow the pace down a little. We're going to burn out. We have capacity. We can't sprint all the time. We need pace. All right? So you need this mindset. I'm going the distance. It's a long race. I'm going to finish it stronger than I started. I'm just getting started. Third end of manhood is money. I think we all know the importance of money. It buys you knowledge. The fact that you guys paid to be here, you guys are learning. You guys are sharpening your saw. That's excellent. It buys you speed. When you have money, you can go to school on other people's mistakes. You can take certifications, you can go to courses, you can join coaching programs, you can hire mentors, you can invest in the masterminds, and you can learn from the mentor, the coach, and he's going to reveal all of his mistakes. And that buys you speed. Money's also going to help buy you relationships. The truth of the matter is, a lot of people play on their level. Right? You know, they want to work with guys who are on their level. So if you're able to help somebody who's up here, they might be more able to reciprocate, right? So you're going to be able to, you know, pay to play with certain guys. You know, the relationship would make sense because you're both on the same level. It'll buy you opportunities. Right? When you have money, you're going to be able to figure out, shoot, should I start the supplement company or should I start the clothing company? Should we keep going deeper in this niche? Or should we, you know, go wider? Should I buy a Lamborghini? Should I buy a Ferrari? Should I get the house in San Diego or should I get the house in Tampa? I'm not sure. Those are called first world problems, by the way. Those are fun problems. Money also buys you experiences. You're going to be able to travel more. And you'll be able to bring family on these trips. And they'll be able to get a taste of this. Right? Every time people, I have a mastermind myself, and when people come, we go out for dinner. I cover the bill, and I let them buy what they want. I want to give them a taste. That's something that I've always enjoyed doing, going to restaurants and not looking at the prices. I've always wanted to be able to do that for my people, because people did that for me. And obviously, money puts you in a position to give. Something my parents taught me when I was little was you should try and make all you can, save all you can, and give all you can. So I sponsor a lot of kids in third world countries. I've like seen kids go from 3 years old up to 16 years old. And I was doing this before I was even making money. Well, I don't have money yet. Anyways, that's a separate topic. But a big thing is understanding that the money that you're being given is not yours. It's coming from above. And he's only going to give you as much as you're being responsible with. If I give you a certain amount of money and you're not even managing it, I'm not going to give you more. If I give you some of my money and you manage it really well and you start doing some great things with it, I'll give you even more. I'll give you even more. So manage what you have. And that was a big lesson early on. I learned I'm not making any more money, and I had to ask myself, am I even managing what I've been given? Because what you have isn't yours. It's been given to you. And if you don't understand that, if you're not a good steward of what you've been given, you're not going to be given responsibility for any more. So be grateful for where you are right now. If you live in a car, Be grateful for that car. Because if you're not grateful for that car might disappear and you might be on the street next. You're not grateful for your condo? So you get the point. All right, the fourth M is mission. The reason mission comes after money is because I think a lot of us are on the same wavelength in terms of we don't want to just impact people's head knowledge, but we want to impact their hearts. We want to see true transformation. I get so much fulfillment when you guys come up and tell me, you've helped me so much, and not just with the physical body, but you've helped me with that and that. Where's Sam? Sam told me such an amazing story about himself. And that's why I come to these events, for what you told me, man. I was so inspired by what you told me, and I'm so grateful. Like, wow, it all started with me just helping people build their biceps? Really? And you've gone on to do great things. Good for you. So when we have money, we can now start doing things that we really want to do. We can have a long-lasting legacy. People will give you permission to talk on more topics. Like my brand now is progressing to this whole M5 world, where my whole brand started off as muscle. That was when I was like, 10 years ago, but now people are giving me permission to talk about what I really want to talk about. But nobody wants to learn, nobody wants to, I have nothing, what can I teach people about money if I'm not making any money? I can't teach anybody anything about marriage when I'm a single guy. So I had to understand that before I could talk about the things that I feel like are my true calling, I had to go through these steps. So I'm in this fourth M right now. I'm really starting to get close to talking about the stuff that really matters a lot. And that'll be the same for you. And the fifth M is marriage. There'll come a point, there were a number of married people in this room, right? Awesome. And how many of you guys signed up for a marriage just to survive? How many of you signed up for a marriage to thrive? Marriage is an amazing thing. Is it hard? It's harder than anything else you'll ever do in your life. It's the most rewarding. All right? So here's the cool thing with marriage, is you now have an opportunity to run life together. I look at marriage like a race. If you're going to run a long race, would it be helpful to have somebody who's first entered in the same race, the same distance, who's not taking breaks, who's not negative, someone who's not holding you back, somebody who's pushing you along, who's supporting you? And that's all a marriage partner is, or somebody to run life together with. And one of the cool things with my relationship, my wife and I joke around that I could live life without her, but I prefer her in my life. She makes me better. All right? And same with her. And that's what attracted us to each other. She was doing something with her life with or without me. She had a plan for her life. She was already into working out. She was a nurse. She was making money. She had a path and a vision for her life, and so did I. But what happened is we recognized we're running the same direction. We're running the exact same race. We have the same faith. We have the same commonalities. Like, do you want to do it together? Like, it might be fun to run this race together. And now we come alongside each other, and it's really now easy. Not easy, but it makes sense to be together when we're working together as a team. We're a team. What does team stand for, guys? Together, each achieves more. So I've got a partner now to run life with. Now let me tell you a few more things about marriage. In marriage, you either grow or you die. All right? Marriage is a full frontal mirror. How many people like looking at themselves in the mirror, in the mirror naked? All right. I love this group. I love this group. All right. There's days I don't like seeing what I look like in the mirror. Now I'll tell you what. Once you're in a marriage, you see every little detail that you're ashamed of. And if we were to put up here, like if we were to do your movie the past 2 weeks, and we got to see everything. And we got to put it up on the movie screen, and we all got to watch it. I'm sure there'll be a lot of amazing things, but just like me, there'll be a lot of things I'd be embarrassed if you saw. And guess what? In marriage, she sees it all. And that's tough, because you're always naked. You're vulnerable. She knows who you really are. So guess what? You know what the point of relationships are? Who said that? Louder. And mature. So now when you're in this relationship and things are heated, you're in an argument, something's going wrong, you just look at it as a positive. You don't look at it as a negative. Like, this is awesome. We're fighting again. This is an opportunity to grow. Amazing. We're fighting again. I love it. We're dancing again. We're going to get better at this. And if you have this perspective on, are you guys together? You guys are smiling at each other. Yeah, I like it. All right. And now when you're in this fight, you can say, hey, I have an opportunity to become a better version of myself right now. New perspective. Does that help? When you get married, you got to say no to a lot when you say yes to one. All right? So as men, we struggle with a lot of things. Temptation, lust, anger, pride, ego, cheapness, self-centeredness. None of that stuff is going to help your marriage thrive. So what I'm going to encourage all you guys to do right now is to start becoming better versions of yourself. My mom told me this when I was little. She said, Vince, stop trying to find the right person and start focusing on becoming the right person. Do 4s attract 10s? So if you want to attract a 10 out of 10, does it not make sense to start bringing your game up? And guess what? When you start improving yourself, you're going to have a lineup of 10s noticing you. But if you stay at a 4 out of 10, you'll have a lineup of 4s. You'll never have problems meeting women, but they'll all be 4s. So if you're not growing, the problem isn't with her, it's with you. If you're not happy with that, so anyways, last thing, you're going to be forced to become a real man. One of the most challenging things with marriage is that you have to put your dreams down here. I've had to now continue to build my business between, it's actually a pretty good schedule. I wake up early at 5:30 to train. I shut my day down at 4:30 and I don't work weekends. My kids need me. I want to be a highly engaged father. For me to be highly engaged, I need to shut the day down. And I need to be present for my kids. All right? So you're forced to become a real man. You have to disconnect. So anyways, these are the 5 M's of manhood. Are you guys excited? Yes. All right. Oops. All right. So why are these M's essential? One main reason, your life will represent a trade up. Does anybody in this room want to trade down? Does anybody want more body fat? Does anybody want more debt? Does anybody want, we could go, a bankrupt business? Does anybody want less motivation? Does anybody want, we could go on and on. You see the point. Nobody in this room wants to trade down. So the moment you meet somebody, they're looking at you and they're assessing your entire life. And they're asking themselves, is this guy got what I would consider a trade up? Is there something I can learn from this person? So the inspiration here is make your life a trade up. Make your life a trade up. When people look at you, when your friends look at you, they see something in you that they don't have. And like, man, I like this guy. I like what he represents. I want that. I like how he handles that situation, Wow, man. And that's it. As long as you're continuing to try and make your life a version of a trade up, people are going to want to come along. You're going to like that taste. All right, here's some good stuff. To maximize the 5 M's of manhood, we have to first cure these 4 diseases. Here's where you're going to start taking some really good notes. Disease number 1 is comparative syndrome. Comparison kills clarity. And clarity needs context. My pastor, Stephen Furtick, has this amazing quote, and he says, the reason people deal with insecurity is because they compare their behind the scenes with everyone else's highlight reel. And that's one of the reasons I'm giving this talk, to give you guys context to the whole story. And here's how we're going to fight this disease. We are going to start focusing on this acronym. Who knows what WIN stands for? What's important now? Question mark. That's what winning is. What's important right now? Not tomorrow, not in a few hours from now. What's important now? And when we start just focusing on what's important now, I got to write my ebook. You know, I got to get out of debt. I got to build my body. I got to go resolve this argument. I flew home and I got an unresolved argument right now. I got to get on the phone after this seminar session. I need to call her, call him, and I need to make things right. That's a win. What's important right now? And when we start just focusing on our own life, we don't worry about what's going on with others. We start seeing improvements in our life. So I want you guys to start winning. What's important now? As in this set right now, you're present and you're taking notes. That's what's important right now, that your attention is here and you're in this room and ideas are getting unlocked and then you're getting inspired and you're not distracted by your phone. That's what's important right now. You've made an investment to be here. The guys outside in the halls who aren't here right now, they're missing out on this. They've invested in themselves and they're missing out on great content because they don't understand the definition of what's important now. Disease number 2 is I want it all now syndrome. All right, Oprah Winfrey says this: you can have it all, just not all at once. Isn't that great? You can have it all, but just not all at once. So breathe. I don't need the big house. I don't need to get married. I don't have to build my body. I don't have to do all this right now. Nobody does it all now. So what is the definition of now? No opportunity wasted. That's the definition of now. It's very similar to win. No opportunity wasted. So when you're winning and you're present, you can start embracing, if I'm in the gym, what matters now is to have a good workout and to get the sets, to get the reps, to add more weight to the bar. Don't waste this opportunity that you took to get up and go to the gym. Now. No opportunity wasted. The third disease is multitasking syndrome. Do you guys know, this one cracks me up. Do you guys know what the definition of multitasking is? Amazing. Thank you, guys. Doing a bunch of things really badly. Doing 2 things poorly at the same time. I'm great at multitasking. So you're basically saying you're good at doing a lot of stuff poorly. All right? I need every single one of you guys to become not a task starter, but a task completer. A lot of you guys are excellent, including myself, at starting stuff. I've got this amazing idea. And then you're off to something else. I got another amazing idea. Finish it. Become a task completer, not a task starter. Push stuff through the finish line. You don't make money when stuff's on the assembly line. You know when you make money? When the parts come off the assembly line, you build that engine and you go sell it. You got to get that stuff off the assembly line. A lot of you guys have too many ideas on the assembly line. You got to take one off, make some money from it, and then reinvest. Make sense? All right. So the solution is another acronym called FOCUS. Anyone know the definition of focus? I love this one. Follow one course until successful. Follow one course until successful. So I get guys, they buy my no-nonsense muscle building program, and it's a bulking program. It's how to gain weight. And I get an email, and the guy goes, so when should I start cutting? You can't sculpt a pebble, man. We got to gain 30, 40 pounds, and then let's talk about cutting. People are like ladies in fantasy land. Like, have you started the program yet? Have you got your meals prepped yet? Have you gone and done workout 1 yet? You know, it's a 6-month program, right? Put 6 months to 2+ years into bulking and then come back and ask me, when should we start cutting? People got the cart in front of the horse. So focus. Follow one course until successful. That's why a lot of people hire me for coaching, because the way, and why people hire a lot of coaches, because coaches are good at giving marching orders. If we're working together, I'm going to give you homework. You're going to get one thing done, and it's going to be done in 2 weeks' time. When it's done, I'll give you your next marching order. All right? You don't earn the right to know what's coming next until you complete the thing you're on. I love this one. Disease number 4 is judging the journey syndrome. You can't judge the journey during the destination because the journey only makes sense when you see it in reverse. How many of you guys are a little confused on maybe where you're at right now? It's okay to raise your hand. You're just like, you're maybe in a valley, or you're just like unsure. It doesn't make sense right now. And it's not supposed to make sense right now. It won't make sense until you reach the end and you can watch the whole story, the whole movie in reverse. So don't judge your journey while you're on the dang destination. Journeys never make sense until the end. I met this girl. I thought she was going to be my wife. There was a lot of girls who I thought were going to be my wife. She's the one, Mom. I met the one. So I was on this trip, and I met this beautiful girl, and she's a flight attendant, and I was 22 years old, absolutely stunning girl, and she was going to fly me to see her, and I was going to be able to fly her to come see me, and after 2 weeks, we had a phone call, and you know where this is going. And she said, it's not going to work out. I don't see our futures aligning, blah, And I almost started crying on the phone. I was like, my God, I'm like, what? I thought we were talking about this. You were the one. I was crying. And she said, what? Why are you upset? Why are you looking at this as a negative? Why am I looking at this as a negative? I thought we were getting married. You're my future. This was everything. I was supposed to work out. And she said, do you think God's going to give you second best? If you thought I was good, wait until the next one. You thought I was good, wait until the next one. What, are you going to settle? I'm like, no, yeah, definitely not going to settle. She's like, so look at this as a positive. If you think I'm amazing, if you thought I was your dream girl, man, I wonder what the next one's going to be like. So every time I broke up with a girl, I was like, sweet, I wonder what the next one's going to be like. I looked at every breakup as a positive. Wow, she's not the one? Oh my gosh, she was amazing. I wonder what the next one's going to be like. I looked forward to breakups. Breakups were amazing. And she shifted my perspective on these negative situations in my life. And what became a scar, what was a scar then, I felt like scarred. She hurt me. It became a strength. How many of you guys believe that your scars will become your greatest strengths? Thank you. And if your hand's not up, put it up. Your scars will become your greatest strengths. It's true. So during the journey, you're going to come up. I had to sneak this one in here somehow. During the journey, you're going to come up against criticism. You guys know the definition of haters? A hater is people who have anger towards everyone reaching success. Who wants more haters? So during the destination, you'll come up against haters. And just remind yourself of what a hater is. Okay. Here's the fun stuff. We are going to go through the evolution of Vince Del Monte in chapters, all right? The reason I want to tell you guys my story is because at the start of this, I told you guys that you are exactly where you need to be right now. You are. You're exactly where you need to be. You're not behind, and you're not ahead of schedule. You're where you need to be, all right? And I want you guys to try and figure out where you are in your story. We're all writing our own stories, right? Your story will not be mine. And I think a lot of similarities will come out from these different chapters of my life. All right? And I want you guys to ask yourself, well, I'm in Vince's chapter 1 right now. I'm in Vince's chapter 2 or 3 right now. And I want you to embrace the chapter that you're writing. All right, here we go. Fun stuff. Chapter 1 was exploration. This was the age from 16 to 22. These were my skinny Vinny days. This is when I found my identity as a runner. All right, I was a long-distance, scrawny runner, and that's what I was known for. I was good at running. I represented Canada. I developed a lot of endurance when I was a runner. How many athletes are here in the room? Like, how many of you guys contribute a lot of your success to just like what athletics did for you? Big time. And some of you guys just need to stay where you're at right now and keep developing your athletic skills, your athletic abilities, the sports you're in, because you're developing traits that will give you endurance. Running gave me iron lungs. Like, I honestly feel like you guys could throw as many spears at me as you want. I feel like there's a shield right here blocking them all. And nothing's going to penetrate it. And I feel like I got this endurance built inside of me that nothing can break me down. And a lot of you guys just need to develop that endurance. Maybe sport is the thing that's doing it for you. And that's what was happening for me. I went off to the University of Western. I got a kinesiology degree. And my intent then was to become a gym teacher. So back then, if you asked Vince Del Monte, what are you doing right now with your life? I'm going to be a gym teacher. And that was fine. I was like, okay, I was told to become a gym teacher because it was secure. You got your summers off, and it sounded cool. Yeah, it sounded like cool, like a phys ed teacher. It's awesome, sounds like an amazing job. And that was my path. I was very clear on that. And I was dabbling with a lot of jobs. I had a lot of jobs. I was in construction. I was doing all sorts of stuff. In these exploration days, I was selling knives, Cutco knives. I was paying who did Cutco knives? Yay, Cutco! Oh, look at the Cutco fans. It's amazing. I mean, I was like learning how to sell. My friends used to all laugh at me because I'd go to their parents' house and I'd try and sell them knives. And I'm like, well, hey, I paid my way through university. How'd you do? And, I was on my path. I was working construction during the day. I was getting beat up by these like really macho construction workers, and I was getting roughed up with anybody working construction? Yeah, construction. It made me tough. They toughened my skin. These guys weren't soft men. These guys were hard men, and they hardened me up. I grew up in a soft home. My dad was hard, but I was always loved. I always had mom there. So I never really got pushed around like, whoa, ouch, that hurt. Construction helped me with that. And I had this fascination with building muscle, all right? That fascination with building muscle was when I was in university and I lived with all these jack guys. You guys have probably heard the story. These were the dudes that all the women flocked to, and the dudes just like, oh, wow, man, I want to hang out. They were the men. They were the cool guys on campus. They had big arms and charismatic. They were confident. And I saw this muscle give them this confidence. I had this fascination, but I was skinny Vinny then, so I couldn't pursue this thing of building muscle because I was in my world of running. So it was just like kind of on the back burner. I'm like, wonder what would happen one day if I pursued muscle. Wonder if I could build some muscle if I put the same effort I put into my running into the gym. So between those days, I never touched a weight really between the ages of 16 to 22. All right, let's move on to chapter 2. Chapter 2 was when I entered the real world after university and I gained my first job as a personal trainer. So this is all, I started gaining a lot of experience in this industry called personal training. So I didn't tell you, I didn't make it into teacher's college. I actually wasn't smart enough. And that was actually one of the things I discovered in university. I used to call home, I used to tell my mom all the time, Mom, I aced it. I killed it, another one. 63. Always like disappointed with school. I was really not, I actually did pretty good, but I always was I was with guys who all went to med school, all doctors. I have friends who are plastic surgeons and guys who take bullets out of you, they're orthopedic surgeons and they're real surgeons. And these were my roommates. And I was really intimidated. Man, maybe I'm not that smart. I felt like Rocky through my, Rocky always says, I've got what you call a punchy brain. I felt a lot like Rocky, all right? Paulie goes, hey, Rocky, we should invest in some condominiums. And Rocky goes, condominiums? I don't use those. I was a little like Rocky, all right? And then it kind of got reinforced when I went off into the real world after spending 50 G's on a university education and I'm making $10 an hour at the YMCA that my dad works out at and walks around in the in the room with all the old guys, blow drying their you-know-what. And I'm like, this is where I'm pursuing a career. And my dad asked me, he said, Vince, You're working for $10 an hour as a personal trainer after a $50,000 university education. Are you going to be a personal trainer when you're 35? And it was the first time in my life where I was like, I questioned my path. I'm like, shoot, maybe I should try to go back and get into teacher's college. But I first felt like that was a threat. But then I realized that pressure wasn't a threat, it was therapy. Pressure can be presented to you in two ways. If it's coming from somebody who wants to kill you, then it's a threat. But if pressure's coming to you from a therapist, they're trying to help you. And that pressure was presented to me, and I quickly realized like that pressure was a good thing because I had to make him believe. He was just worried. Like I come from an Italian background where like, you know, they don't put the kids in swimming lessons because they're afraid the kids are going to drown. It's like that old school fear. So my parents were fearful people, and they tell you that. They're fearful people. So what happened was when I was at the gym was I asked for a raise. And my boss, she said, Vince, I can give you a raise. I talked to the boss. We can give you a $1 raise in 1 year from now. I quit on the spot. And that's when I quickly recognized the definition of job, which you guys all know, just over broke. Thank you. And I quickly realized I need to start controlling my path. And I got involved with another gym that was very heavy on the selling gym memberships, and I started learning how to sell gym memberships and personal training, and that's where I started developing my skill set as somebody who could sell. And I started doing all these consultations, and I started experiencing rejection and disappointment. I was working in a performance-based gym where you got paid based on how you performed. I'm like, wow, this is a whole nother level. This is a whole nother world. And I started developing myself in that setting. And then in that setting, I started meeting some mentors, guys who exposed me to the worlds of multi-level marketing. And I just started getting exposed to like all the personal development gurus out there. And I just kept developing myself. And I started learning about sales and persuasion and influence, all the good stuff you guys are learning about right now. And I just started to devour it. I developed a hunger for this stuff. And that started leading to me getting really good at it, and I started building personal training departments up. And I started making a name for myself, and I started building my confidence and my belief up in myself that, wow, maybe Vince Del Monte can do something with his life. Because I was embracing where I was now. I was winning. I was focused. And then I met one of my father's friends. My dad introduced me to this guy as Mike, and Mike was a 35-year-old retired guy. And I never met somebody who was retired at 35. Is that even, I mean he's retired, he's 35. Excuse me. And he introduced me to the world of Robert Kiyosaki and Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And that's when I went on to start, I quickly realized, wow, I need to invest in real estate. And then I try to figure out, okay, I'm making so much. I wasn't making a lot of money at the gym. I was making like $44,000 a year. But I realized I could maybe save $1,000 a month from my job. And if I put $1,000 a month aside, I could invest into my first home. And I did after a year. It took a year. And I bought my first home. I had to convince my parents to do the co-signing. And I got my first home. And then I got some renters in the home, which funded enough to start investing in some other cool stuff like a car. I got my first real cool sports car. And it all started from just like expanding my mind. And this was all between the ages of 22 to 26. Chapter 3. Entrepreneurship. So this was from the ages of 26 to 30. One of my mentors introduced me to the internet. He said, Vince, you should check out these guys on the internet. They're selling these ebooks. And I checked them out. And there was these guys on the internet who had these long-ass sales pages, and they were selling muscle building ebooks to skinny guys. And I did some research, and there was this one guy named Anthony Ellis. The site was fastmusclegain.com or something. And I was going on these forums, and I was asking around, and I found out this guy was selling 10 copies a day of a $97 ebook. And I said, that's impossible. There's no way anybody could be making $1,000 a day. That was my thinking. There's no way. It's impossible. And I did some more research, and it was legit. This guy was selling 10 $97 ebooks a day. I'm like, so that's, I could do the math, $30,000 a month? What? So I had a curiosity. So I started exploring this world of entrepreneurship and this world of internet marketing. I bought these DVDs that cost me $300. It would be kind of like the equivalent of you watching this event, but maybe more just like more specific tactical stuff to building an online business. Like, and you watched it all, and you're like, wow, this is exactly what I want to do with my life. That was the experience I had, but what was the problem? I was overwhelmed. So I got a call from this place called the Internet Marketing Center, and they pitched me. They pitched me a $7,500 mastermind. Sorry, not mastermind, one-on-one coaching program. And I didn't even have $7,500 like really to my name. I was like, I would have to put it on credit cards. Like I was paying my bills. And so I realized, man, oh man, it was either do or die. And I invested in this coach. And that one decision was the thing that catapulted my business. So I hired this guy, and he focused me on one step at a time. And I asked him, so what are we going to be doing on month 6? What do you mean month 6? We have to focus on month 1. And that's how he coached me. And within 6 months, I launched No Nonsense Muscle Building, which became an ebook that sold over 100,000 copies. And it was the thing that kind of put my name on the map, on the internet world. And then after that, it was a 2-year, I want to tell you this because I want you guys to embrace now. Like my first year online, I was still working at the gym. I made 10 grand. My first sale, guess who it came from? My mom. She's not a skinny guy. And she's not trying to gain her first 30 pounds of muscle without drugs, without bogus supplements, and in less time. The second sale came from a buddy of mine who worked at the gym. I'm like, wow, this is going to be hard. My first year online, I made $10,000. My second year online, I made $100,000. I started investing and learning more, and there's a whole story behind that. But after 2 years online, I quit my job. That was my sign. So the lesson there is you don't have to do this right away. You can build your business on the side. I worked from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., and then I worked on my business from like 9 p.m. to 2 a.m. I had blinders on, I had tunnel vision, and I put everything into it. I went through quite a few girlfriends because they said, Vince, you're married to your business, not to our relationship. And I said, you're right. It wasn't my priority. My priority between the ages of 26 and 30 was to build my online business. Don't go shopping if you don't plan on marrying. So I was kind of wasting their time. That's another lesson. But during these days, I was building my online business. And then my business started increasing exponentially as I invested into Craig Ballantyne's mastermind, Bedros Keuilian's mastermind. And every time I invested in myself, it came back tenfold. You guys have heard this over and over. The only reason it won't work is if you don't take action. I made my first mill by the age of 30. That was pretty cool. So when I did that, I want to give you guys context to how that happened. That's when I really started expanding my business. All right? And I want to kind of tell you guys about some of the things that I was doing. My whole business was just built around that first product. That first product, customer acquisition, more customers, more customers, more customers. I wasn't spread thin. I wasn't doing body weight training. I wasn't trying to open up a gym. I wasn't trying to launch supplements. I wasn't trying to launch a clothing company. I was doing one thing. And one dimensional almost always often wins. Like when you're just, the guy who's the most focused always beats the guy who's spread thin. You don't have a chance. Like, you just don't have a chance. As soon as you spread yourself thin, you're giving yourself an unfair advantage. You might as well just give him steroids. And I was focused. And I just kept building up my following around this one idea of helping skinny guys gain their first 30 pounds of muscle. And after that, when I had a lot of people asking for the next thing, I launched Maximize Your Muscle, which was a continuity program, $69.95 a month. And we built it up to over 5,000 people. And it was a physical newsletter, and that was the thing that helped me make my first mill. And that was something being shipped to people's front door. And then after that, that fed into Live Large TV, which was a platform where I now started talking about more than just muscle. Because now people were giving me permission to talk about the things I really wanted to. And then that put me into a position to meet Ben Pakulski, who's a bodybuilder, professional bodybuilder, celebrity in his world. He was interested in me helping him and getting to know me because he knew I had success. So he was attracted to me. Otherwise, he probably wouldn't have wanted to talk to me because he was a high-status guy, and if I wasn't a high-status guy too. So we knocked it off, clicked, and we launched another program which became a multi-seven-figure program called Hypertrophy Max. And then we launched one-on-one coaching. So all of my programs were launched over an evolution of many, many years. And the reason I'm telling you this is because you don't have to do it all at once. This stuff will all happen for you in time. One domino can knock down all the other dominoes, but most people are just like, they're not really knocking it down. Here's a good analogy. Most people today are fishing in the ocean with a ton of lines, and they're chasing minnows. What you need to do is you need to take all the lines out of the ocean, and you first have to do some research on a better part of the ocean where there's actually sharks. And then you got to go find a really good rod. You got to get a really good lure, can't say that word. And then you got to cast it, and you got to stay there longer than any other fisherman. And that's how you catch a shark. You don't catch a shark with 20 lines in the ocean, because all you're going to catch are minnows. All right, and that's the domino effect. All right, fun stuff now. So when I was making money, let me just context this a bit. This is when I became non-Christian Vince. All right? This is when I told my parents this Christian life is too hard. Standards are too high. I want to go have fun. I want to experience stuff. You know, I said it, right? So Vinny started making some bad decisions. I started letting the fame get to my head. I was the guy that when we went to the clubs, the guys were like, oh yeah, Vince will buy the bottles tonight. Yeah, Vince will buy the bottles tonight. He lives in his own house. He's got his own car. And I let that all go to my head. All right, so that led to all the experimentation and all the fun stuff. And, you know, there was a point where I had 5 girlfriends. At the end of the week, I looked in my wallet, and there was over $1,000 in dinner bills. Like, what am I doing? I spent $200 on like 5 different girls in 1 week. None of them I knew that were going anywhere. I'm like going out with these girls to impress them. I kid you not. It was for me. I was impressing myself. I was the guy on the date who talked all night and said, oh my gosh, I talked all night tonight. I am so sorry. What do you think of me? I was that guy. Oh, I was my biggest fan. I believe my own hype. I remember my dad caught me looking at myself in the mirror. I was kind of probably doing one of my poses, trying to get a selfie, and I noticed he caught me and he goes, "Are you in love with yourself?" I was in love with myself. I was in love with Vince Del Monte. Thank God I met Flavia. I met Flavia when I was 29. And it was just, I hate to put it this way, but it was one of those things, when you know, you know. And maybe the dating, all the different girls was a good thing because I had that context. When I met her, our first date lasted a couple days. And we were engaged 6 months later, and we were married 6 months after that. And the reason it happened so fast was because we quickly recognized we're both in the same race and we're going in the same direction. We didn't need a lot of time to think about it. I didn't need to test drive the car. When you test drive a car, you test drive it for 2-3 days. You don't test it for 2-3 years. You should know how the car drives within a couple days. Now you're just being indecisive. So when I met Flavia, I want to share a big story. There's a big story here, and she really helped me because I came from this past. I wasn't proud of like what I was doing for those like my late 20s. And when I met her, when I went out with other girls, they'd want to know my past. And I didn't want to tell them. And it always quickly led to drama and like stupid stuff. I'm like, why are we talking about this? Flavia, we made a rule on the first few dates. She said, I don't want to know anything about your past. Nothing. To this day, she knows nothing about my past. I know nothing about hers. We just don't go there. And that was the first opportunity a woman gave me to become the man I wanted to be and not the man I was. And I didn't want to let her down. And that took so much security for a woman to do that. And she said, I trust you. I trust you. I didn't want to F that up. And she just quickly, wow. She gave me a second chance. So anyways, a little tip for you guys, all right? Build your relationship based on where you're at. So we had a very fast engagement, married after 12 months, and I want to, oh shoot, is Steve still in the room? Does he have my phone? It's okay. What's that? Yeah, I wanted to read something. So I sent my parents and my wife my presentation to look at, and I put this in the slides, and it was, after I got married, I felt like I sucked at marriage. And my wife sent me a text, and she says, Vince, I wish I could read it right now, but I don't have my phone, that's okay. She said, you shouldn't tell them that in the presentation because you didn't. Because there was a point in our marriage where we used to get in, not a lot, but we used to fight. And when you fight, anybody in a relationship, anybody said some things they wish they hadn't said? Yeah, so have we. So have I. I've said some things I wish I didn't say. And I told her, Flavia, you and I, if we fight, we're never ever using the D word. Ever. Ever, ever again. That word does not enter my vocabulary. It does not enter my brain. And this is something I told her a while back. And she texted me before I flew out here, and she said, Vince, when you told me that, you breathed life into our marriage. Because I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure. Are you a quitter? Did I marry a quitter? Oh, we're going the distance. So, men, it is your job to lead your woman. She does not want to be the leader of the relationship. No matter what the news says, no matter what's going on out there, she does not want to take the leadership role. That's your job. All right? Women are attracted to men with purpose and vision, and they have their own skill sets that they'll contribute to an incredible relationship. But her skill set is not leading the relationship. So like Bedros was saying, become decisive. Start leading. All right? All right, this is a fun chapter. We're almost done, guys. So the chapter 6 is extinction. And now, as you can see, I like trying to keep things memorable, so I've been using these E's. I almost went extinct. I almost went extinct. My business I almost went out of business. I became what you call a very rich broke man. I was making a lot of money, but a lot of money was going out. And you would never know unless you saw my bank account. Making a lot of money, a lot was going out. Everything on the surface, the tip of the iceberg was beautiful, but you guys couldn't see underneath the surface. You couldn't see how deep the problems went. You couldn't see how wide the problems went. All right? Why did this happen? A lot of reasons. There was a couple of main things I want to just kind of warn you of. I started trying to get more attention. I was trying to build my business the wrong way, and I started to become negative, and I started becoming critical, and I started attacking different diets out there, and I started poking fun at ideas that people had about nutrition, and that quickly spiraled out of control. You know how you don't insult people's religion or their political views? Well, I learned you don't insult people's nutritional views either. I didn't realize how closely wrapped people's identities are with the way they eat. And I learned it the hard way. So I started attacking all these nutritional philosophies from a spirit of, I wanted attention. I was that guy on YouTube who was desperate for views, so I took a baseball bat to Mercedes-Benz's. Well, anybody will watch that. So I attracted the wrong attention, and then I had a big number of influential people start to tear me down. And they started saying they started taking my name through the mud. I'm like, what did I even get out of this? And they were right. I was picking a fight. I shouldn't have been picking a fight. I didn't punch back. It took a long time to recover, and I did notice a hit in my numbers. I was like, this won't affect me. This won't, and it did. took a while to recover from. And one of the reasons that happened was because my business didn't have what I call quality control. I was driving by myself. I had no quality control. I had nobody else. I wasn't really asking anybody else for input on the video content or what we were putting out. And quality dropped. And when quality dropped, people notice. And when quality suffers, they're going to quickly move to somebody else. I had nobody on my team saying, Vince, no, don't do that video. Like, don't upload it. Don't send that email either. And don't promote that product. Like, no, why are you promoting that product? You're contradicting yourself, Vince. Why are you, I didn't have anybody telling me that. I know quality control. You know what the breakfast of champions is? Feedback. I had nobody giving me feedback. So now I have a team that oversees everything, and we don't have, still make some errors, still got to pivot, navigate, make some mistakes here and there, but we don't have as many. We don't have any holes in the boat that are going to cause the whole Titanic to sink. All right? I don't have time to go into this other story, but I give you the very short version. This was all out of an attempt to get to the next level. So I was over 7 figures a year, and I was trying to get to like the next level. You know, I was trying to really like keep those exponential increases going. And what happened, I made a huge marketing mistake. I outsourced my marketing. And I gave these guys $56,000 to start running my wife's business because we just had our first daughter. And I wasn't able to put as much attention into it. And these guys were Facebook ads experts. They had an agency account, and they'd blown up all these other accounts, and they were going to blow my wife's business up. We're going to target the ladies over 40 where all the money is, and they're going to make this amazing quiz funnel. And it took me a year to realize that we got scammed by legitimate con artists, criminals. They were actually in the news, and I found out a year later. It took me a year to figure this out when nothing had really moved an entire year. And we actually took the money out of my wife's business. You can imagine how that conversation went. So all this stuff was going on, and I almost went extinct. If you guys don't think the people you follow go through valleys, you're out to lunch. Everybody goes through valleys, all right? Here's the thing. Your greatest battles will become your greatest victories. Your greatest battles will become your greatest victories. Because this stuff that I was battling against has all become stuff that has allowed me to go to this final chapter, which was to evolve. One of the big things I had to do was embrace what my superpower was. And I had to restructure my team. I had to bring new people on. I had to let certain people go. I had to get clear on what projects we were going to really try and double down on. I had to get clear on what my 5% was. I started focusing on the YouTube videos and just being positive again. Going back to old Vinny, just being positive and helping people. And keeping the content simple and not trying to be super smart and technical. We built this awesome quiz funnel about what my beliefs are around building muscle. I started educating people on my new values and the values that I stand for. And one of those big values came out of the message that, here's you guys got to get this. All right. That last chapter, I would not be able to teach what I'm teaching in this chapter if I didn't go through this chapter. Remember, life does not make sense until you watch it in reverse. You can't judge the journey during the destination. So the reason my brand has started to grow again, and people are now embracing the new stuff I'm teaching, is because I learned the hard way with this stuff. I was trying to grow fast. I was trying to jump to the next level. And what I learned with a lack of quality control is that slow actually equals fast. Because when you go slow, you don't make mistakes. You're playing the long game. You don't focus on just starting stuff. You finish on finishing stuff, and you focus on doing those things well. So my battles became my victories. And your battles will become your victories as well. So I started teaching these new things. I started to embrace who I was. I was a father. I'm no longer single Vinny driving sports cars 200 miles per hour and going to Miami and going to Vegas and doing the bottles and a lot of cool stuff that I was showcasing while the business was in expansion. I was single Vinny. And I hadn't embraced fatherhood yet and who I was. I hadn't rebranded myself. I'm a freaking dad now. I'm 37. And I wasn't embracing that. So it took time to realize, like, geez, all these young guys coming up, yeah, I guess, there's not as many 35 to 45-year-old men on YouTube. I just had to come to grips with that. And my message was a lot different, a lot more polarizing. I'm not teaching sexy. I'm not teaching get it yesterday. So I had to embrace this new path. Started working smarter, not harder. I've had to focus on keeping the main thing. So building this business in context of having a marriage, having a family, understanding that if my kids and my wife, I don't want to finish this life by myself. I want to finish this life with them by my side. So knowing that I want to finish life with them by my side, I can't build the expense by kicking them to the curb and saying, sorry, we're trying to grow this year. We've got to get to the next level. No, my values are family first. So now it's easy to make these decisions. Not easy, it's still challenging. There's still that resistance. But when you know what you stand for, you guys know this quote? If you don't stand for something, you fall for everything. That's it. Is that Malcolm X? There you go. Malcolm X. I plugged back into my faith in my church. I got inspired again. I started hanging out with people that are a trade up in many areas of life. Two guys I look up to most are actually pastors. They're actually jacked pastors. They're fit. These guys' messages are always on point. They have big, beautiful families. They have these mega churches. They're both New York Times best-selling authors, Craig Rochelle and Steve Furtick. And I'm just like, man, these guys are the real deal. Like, these are the guys I learn from, and these are the guys who inspire me. And I'm plugged back into this world. And it's reinvigorating me. So I'm not trying to convince you of anything in terms of like coming to do what I do, but you need to stay plugged into what keeps you inspired. You got to stay plugged into what keeps you lit up, right? And now I'm finally doing what I've always really wanted to do, and that was coach men and help them build successful businesses. But not till chapter 7. So now men are coming to me and asking me, hey, Vince, how'd you build that business? I want to start the business. And now I have my own mastermind. I have my own group of men. And we meet up, and I teach them everything. And now I get to not just influence guys on how to build muscle, but I get to influence men who want to take the same path. And I can reassure them, Andy, you're on the right path, man. What you're doing right now is right. Like, you just have to get along and enjoy the ride now. And that's why my coaching clients love hearing that. Like, oh man, dude, I got my product live, only made one sale. Like, what should I do now? Oh my God, I'm dying. Oh. I'm like, dude, that's normal. Breathe. One sale, that's good. 3-4 months ago, we didn't even have a product. Like, oh, that's right, you're right. You're on the right path. Enjoy the ride. And if you're getting overwhelmed by the competition, look at the competition as a good thing, right? If you're running a race, 400-meter dash, it's good to know where your competition is. There's 8 lanes. Right? You want to be able to kind of be aware of where the competition is, but you're not running the whole race looking at your competition. And you want them to run fast. You want them to set a blistering pace. I remember in high school, my coach put me in the fast heat for the 1,500 meters. And I quickly realized I was going to probably come dead last. And I said, what'd you put me in the fast heat for? I'm going to come dead last. And he said, Vince, I thought we came here to run a personal best. Did you want to come first place in the slow heat, or do you want to run a personal best today? I want to run a personal best. So that shifted my perspective with the competition. Hanging out with Jason Capital and Bejos Koulian and Craig Ballantyne and Steve Weatherford, I love hearing them being successful because they're just going to pull me along. Like, that's awesome, man. If you're successful, I'm coming along. I'm just going to try and keep up. I'm just going to hang at the back of the pack here. I'm just going to hang. I'm going to pass you guys all at the end because I'm going the distance. I'm just going to hang on. This is fun. So embrace it. Everything you see as a negative is likely a positive. Guys, I'm done. Thank you so much for your time.